Hello. I want to start the stream off with a disclaimer. My jaw is killing me. I have a headache coming on, I think. And my leg's killing me and I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. But I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best. We might have to end stream a little bit early, but we'll see what goes on. I promise I'll try. Hello, Les, how's your day going? No excuses, JK, just do your best. I don't like canceling streams, especially last second, like I did last Friday. But yeah, I have like it's like a tension headache across like the front of my head and my eyes. But I don't know. I think I'm going into a bit of a flare with my jaw. Don't spring your jaw ever, because you'll have problems with it for the rest of your life, and no one will ever do anything to help you with it. Just came back from a run. Ooh, was it a good run? Was the weather okay? And my first streams have been cancelling. Ah, that sucks. I hate cancelling streams, but you know, being chronically ill, it's just like I have to, and I hate it. I hate it. I actually like made myself feel very bad on Friday because I cancelled like the last second. Literally, it was like a minute before 3, and all day I was like, I don't know if I could stream, but I wanted to stream so bad. It got to like literally about to start stream. I had it all set up, and I had to stop. I was like, no. One of my storm warnings. Oh, that's awful. I really do. We don't really get that. We're kind of lucky in that sense. I mean, the weather's not great, but at least we don't really have storms. Australia needs a certain mindset, right? Yeah, that was how I was. It was very like the best way I could describe it is like I wasn't actually anxious, but because I have POTS, it causes your nervous system basically to not work correct, right? So it makes you feel anxious even if you're not. And I was just like on edge. I was on edge. I was like, if I stream, I think I might cry. So I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. So we didn't. But yeah, yesterday was okay. I felt fine yesterday. So that was fine. But for some reason, since I ended stream yesterday, my jaw is so painful. I've done everything I can today to try and help it, and it's just not working. If you are feeling it, it's hard to keep up a good mood. Yeah, and I don't like to do that. I'm not going to stream if I'm not feeling it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm in a bad mood, like, that just puts it onto you guys. Like, you watch people's streams because they give a vibe. And if they're giving a bad vibe, no one wants to watch that. So, I have to tread carefully. But like I said, we'll try. We'll try the best today. If I have to end after an hour, I end after an hour. It's okay. I hate that because we're not streaming on Friday. That leaves 4 days where I'm not streaming. If I don't stream today and tomorrow, I'm going to be annoyed at myself. But it's okay. It's okay. I am trying my best to get over it. But every time I try and nearly cancel, I'm like, ugh. So I thought, it's okay. We'll go live. We'll see what happens. My morning's been okay except for that. But I'm not sure why it's even hurt me so much. I haven't done anything. I think my body's just not been working right this last month, and I don't know why. That's a long time fan, and hey, at least you try. Yeah. Yup. Try my best. I mean, like I say, I originally never had a schedule for streaming ever, and I've been streaming since like 2018. Not on this channel, but been streaming a long time. Like what, 8 years now, pretty much, I think. Something like that. 7? And you know, I've streamed everything, I think, at this point. I've streamed like every kind of game. And I've streamed in different ways, and every time schedule just never comes into it. It never did. And now I have a little bit of a schedule. I'm kind of like, I won't stream on weekends. Unless there's something big happening in the game, I'm not going to stream on the weekend. I've told myself that. And I don't stream on a Thursday. So, you know, that's kind of the schedule. Schedule would be nice if it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, though. But at least it's somewhat of a schedule. I'm proud of myself for that, right? But yeah, see, when I talk on stream, I smile too much, and it's hurting my jaw. I need to stop doing that. I need to act grumpy, and then maybe it wouldn't hurt me so much. It's fine. We'll see. I don't want to get like a really bad headache, so we'll just see what happens. Like I have blue light glasses and blue light on my monitor, but my eyes are still hurting me, so it's not that. It's not like using the screen like lots of people would say. It is a tension headache, so we'll just have to see. Problems. Yeah, I don't know. But we'll see. We're not doing anything like, it's not like we're doing the frogs, right? Because the frogs gave me a headache. Gotta go for a while because shower, laundry. Oh yeah, okay. I hope you have a good day though. Unless see you back. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for dropping by though, I appreciate it. But yeah, we're gonna just finish off some of the weeklies. I think we left a couple of them yesterday. And then I think we're just gonna be doing hot pot and stuff like that. We're gonna just do what we did yesterday. We're gonna go with the vibe. We're gonna do what we can. Do what we can. And then we'll see what happens. Turn that back a little bit. Okay. Let's get the game up. If it's going to. Is it going to do it? It's not gonna do it. Oh, it did it. It did it. Okay, there we go. Okay. So we have a problem. I ended yesterday's stream with an extreme amount of items. So, now we have a problem. The problem is we need to go through and sell things again. Which is extremely annoying, but it's fine. It's fine. I have like everything I can still in the crafters, which is extremely annoying. I don't like that. I don't know what I have. I have no idea what things I have. I need to get to a point where things aren't just in the crafters. Weeds, wood, fur, no, because I need those for furniture. I've just not got around to it yet. That's so annoying. Like, I need them, but I don't need them. Like, I'm gonna sell these. I'm gonna sell those because I don't need them. I don't need that. They're just useless. Ordering. I'm a bad hoarder, I swear. It is really quite bad. But like, I only have like one of some things. It's like these. Like, I don't want to get rid of like, get them when you need them or start the furniture. I know. I know, but like, I'm a backlog person. I always have a backlog of like, I'm gonna do it one day, I'll do it one day, like, and I never do. Like, I don't need that. Why do I have so many of these? And why are they all just like... Oh, it's doing that thing again. It's doing that thing again, that's really annoying. Okay. What? What? Why? Why is it doing this? Got a pick and so... Oh, true. But that's soon. Very soon. What is going on? I'm gonna reload. I'm gonna go to Kilmer and come back. This is insane. This is ridiculous. It's like, I have so much problem right now with storage, and yet the game's just like, yeah, we're gonna give it an even bigger problem. Like, of course. Of course. I'm gonna skip the playlist again. Because I don't want to listen to the same songs. Hey, it's DJ. Nice. Always spawning in front of people. Oh wait, we need to actually just... Step back on. Forgot what I was doing then. I don't think its headache is like dehydration or anything. I've had like water today. I'm assuming it's just a... I'm assuming. I hope it is. I hope it's nothing else. It's probably like the best case scenario for me. Oh. Oh. Oh my god, why do I have like... I didn't even realize I had that many because they weren't stacked. 30 stack, a 15 stack, and a 5 stack. Like, that is extremely irritating. But okay. So I don't have any more, right? Is that all of them? I think that's all of them. Okay, we'll keep like 30 of them because I need them for like the mermaid furniture. I haven't made it yet, I don't think. So I need to keep them. It's the materials that are the problem though, I think. Maybe? I don't need all of that. I know I could just like turn it into... I could turn it into glass though. See, this is my problem. I'm always doing this. See, I don't need that though. Yeah, I'll keep like... I'll keep 50 of it just because, right? Oh, and we got gold so we can turn it into gold bars now. Some of it at least. I don't have any in here. So I don't even know if I have any at all. But there's nothing I can get rid of. What did we do last stream? What did we do before? Oh, we did hunting. That's right. Okay, let's keep some. I don't even know if we can do anything with it. I just keep it all the time. That might be a problem. That just got me like 1,000. Holy. That was probably a big problem there. Like, hello? Oh my. Why do I have this much of things? I fully just came home and then went straight to the market, huh? Okay, we'll keep like 30 of it just cause. But that is ridiculous. I can get rid of pretty much all of these. I only keep like 1. So, you know, we can get rid of most of them. Oh my god. There's so many of them. That is insane. I should not have that many of them. Oh my god, I truly just like came home and just like, I don't even need this. I was making that so that I could sell it. That's insane. I have 8,400 storage now. Okay, we'll get rid of these. Oh, not those. We're gonna try and put those in the thing. Okay, we can't do that. We'll keep that. Sell that. Switch that. Okay, 10,000 gold as well. That's so funny to me. I used to not do anything like that. I used to just keep everything no matter what. And I never realized you could actually use so much of it to make money. Let's see if we can stock this. Because look, I have so much of this. This is insane. Do we have anything we can use right now? Do we have everything we need to try and make the new furniture? Because I might just do that. Super quick. Like the Elderwood stuff. Have we made these yet? Have I not made a single one? Oh, like, let's just make some. I might not even use these. This is the thing. I'm like, I might not even use them, but I like want them, you know? Just because. Just because. It's a thing of it. It's like, if I'm decorating one day and I just don't have the materials, I'm gonna be very annoyed that I just don't have that one thing I wanted. And I don't want to go and leave my plot to do it. I have to do 2 of those as well. Just so I have 2 when I need them. Oh, we're doing weeklies by doing this, so it's all fine. And this will mean I have to stock up on some stuff, so... That's good. Finally getting this done. I don't remember what the weeklies actually are, but we'll just do all of these until I run out. And then we can make more if we need to. I didn't want to do it yet, but... No. Oh well. We have barely used anything by doing that, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, what else? What else? These, do I have anything to put in these? I filled them up, right? I did. And I don't really have much to put in them. Okay, we'll leave that. And now I have all of this in here. I don't need to... I don't need this much, right? I think I bought these as well. I think I went to Ajura and bought the floorwood. I don't need all this wood. This is insane. Oh, that isn't even a floorwood. It's the ancient wood. Okay, we can get rid of that. I don't need that much of it. And then we can put like... some of it in here. How much do I have there? Like, I could probably save like... 150 of it, maybe. I think that would be fine. I feel like I would be okay with that. Oh, I have to put it in there. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Just sort of like I don't have too much because this is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. Okay, we can save that. And then we'll just sell these because I don't need this. We need to just like do stuff to actually get stuff. I feel like I am wait, we don't need to do this one in here, but I feel like I'm hoarding too much now. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. Like that got us 500, so that's good. Do I have anything I can actually put in here though? Yep. Okay. Can we make anything though? Do that. And then just store that. There we go. Next. Do I have any more meat? I think we did. We have 200. Holy crap. That's probably what's taking up a lot of it. Oh my god. I did not realize that. Because I'm like gonna sell all these. This is the only reason I'm doing it. Like just to sell stuff. But I don't need to sell anything. I kind of already have money. Okay, we don't need all of this. This is insane. I'm gonna get rid of most of that. Most of it. Not all of it, but most of it. I'll keep like 200. I don't want to get rid of too much, you know? I don't want to get rid of too much. I feel like if I get rid of too much, I'm gonna cry. You know? Okay, we'll do that. That's kind of bugging me out, but it's fine. I don't think we need much more. 150, 200 planks is fine to stuff there. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just like, here, why not? It'll be fine. Like, I have no silver. Maybe we should go and do silver. I personally keep a lot of hardwood for iron arrows. True. I don't even know how much I have of that. I have an okay amount. I mean, getting the hardwood itself is like... And then just buy the iron bars. True. I think I have a lot of iron though. I feel like iron is easy to get now. But I literally just fast travel or go through like the back gate to go to Bahari, and I can get like the... I can get the wood easy, but it's just like turn them into planks. It takes so long. It takes so long. Do we have anything we could do? I probably should make iron actually. Now that we're doing this, I don't think I have much of it. Oh, I do. I do. That's a little bit annoying. Okay, never mind. Cancel that. Scrap that. We have 100. That's fine. Okay, do we need anything else then? No? We have 24 bars and 41 ore. I don't think I need that. We could do with pallium and silver. Just make furniture interesting now plus some layer. I did that a little bit ago, like maybe 5 minutes ago. We did the elderwood furniture and it got rid of like a little bit. But I think we're okay now. I think we might be okay on that front. So I'll sell those and be rid of them. But I really should just make like a bunch of furniture because every time I come to decorating, I just don't finish decorating purely because I don't have the thing I want. But a lot of what I want for decorating is through like fishing. which is the most stupid thing. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, I want this thing that's supposed to be not that great. And I'm like, why do I want the stuff that is hard to find but isn't supposed to be all that good? Everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's like not... Oh, we might as well go and take this Otozeki. I want the stuff that's hard to find but isn't supposed to be good furniture. I'm like, it's cute. I like it. It's rustic. You know? I like how it looks. Forgot about him. I forgot we got that. We're gonna try for another one. We're gonna try for another one today. See if we can get some more plushies. We're growing a collection. I think I need to start a little pile for now that we're not decorating right now. And just like keep a little pile and keep a little check on the stuff we've actually gotten on the stream. Because so far it's only like 2, but it's worth it. It will grow. We will have like 50 of them by next week, right? Right? Oh, I do wish I could just press a single button right now to sell. Like, can I just right click and sell to him? That would be nice. Then again, I guess I want a confirmation button. I feel like just selecting everything you want and then clicking sell would be better. Maybe not the right click. The right click sounds dangerous. Because then I'll be like, oh, I've got this really rare thing, and all of a sudden I give it to Zeki and I can't get it back. That would suck. But I hate doing this. It takes so long. Like, why? Why is this a thing? Okay. What time is it? Right now. 11 AM, okay. I'll be back. I'll be back later. Okay, what did we need to do for the weeklies? Other than the open house stuff, I'll do those like off stream. Fishing, I really don't want to do, but we will because I kind of have to. It's like the only one I really have. Need 1 more magical creature and 2 more nodes. That's easy to do. Oh, I need to do fertilizer. Let's go do that. Let's go do that. I have plenty of that. I think it like sucks in a sense because at one point I had no money. Like barely any money. I had like 100k at all times and that was it. But I also like had nothing in my chest. So I had no ammo. I had no I had nothing. I had no materials or anything. And like I was going out and doing that. And that was the mission. The mission was to like get this thing I needed. I'm just like so stocked up. Do I just sell everything? I feel like it's dangerous. I don't think I should. Okay, we'll leave it till like the next update and see what we need because I have a feeling we're gonna need stuff that I'm gonna sell. I don't want to be too hectic with it, right? It's a dangerous game to play. Okay, let's take that. And then go put this down. We could probably do a plant into something. Now that I think about it. Because I haven't planted anything for a while. Oh wait, do we have any seeds? We do. Can I fit them all in the lockbox? Do we think? I don't think they're gonna fit. Let's do those ones. Oh wait, they might. No, they don't fit. They don't fit. Okay. We want that. And then is there any onions? There's no onions. Okay. Keep them. And then the starred ones. And then these ones will just go back in here. It's fine. But I think I'm gonna plant the pumpkins. Let's see. They're annoying though. Like this is the thing. They're like very annoying when because they don't use like a certain grid thing. They're only using like what is it, like 4 grids? That's very annoying. It's not very convenient. Like if I want a pumpkin patch, it's not happening. Unless I have them all like aligned correctly, which I just don't have them like that. Because I don't like it like that. I had these laid like in a, was it 9 or 3x3? So that I had like 9. And now I just have like 8 of them. Is it 3, 6? Yeah, 8. So like now this, it's just inconvenient. Like who came up with the idea to do that? Like I would have probably made it like a big one, put it in the middle. Right? That would have made more sense. But now it's like I can plant them like this, but then there's a big gap. So that's just annoying. So I could do that, but if I do anything else, it's going to annoy me. And now it's going to annoy me because of this. So now we can only do that. Because there's just no way you're going to see me putting them in like the most random place. I was going to frustrate me like crazy. So no, I won't be doing that. But can we put the beans down? We can't even put the beans down. That's the problem too. That's very annoying. I have nothing else that I want to put down. So there's like a big gap. There's this like gigantic gap next to them because I don't want to put anything there. It looks ugly. I don't like it. I just wish they were like, they were bigger and filled up the whole grid. Oh, wait, what? I learned something. What did you learn? What did you learn? The little dots on the empty plots? Yeah. Well, some of them. I think if you, yeah, look, you walk over them, they like disappear. And then they come back again. It points in a direction of... Oh my god! Wait! Oh my god, you're right. I was like, yeah, they've always been there. What? Wait, what? But then that one's facing... I was lying on my apple trees. This one's facing this way. Oh, it's because this one's the middle one. That's that way, that's this way, and that's that way. Why did I do that? That's gonna frustrate me now. That's gonna frustrate me now, because all I'm gonna see is, like, they're in the wrong direction to each other. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Fix it later, I will. You know that I will at some point. I'll have to. Once we start decorating again. I haven't been decorating because it's just so much effort. If they were... Oh. If they would just, like, make it more, like, user-friendly to decorate, I would have decorated, like, 1,000,000 times by now. Like, this is so plain and boring, I hate it. I'm like, I go to other people's plots and I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. And I'm like, I've got so many ideas. So many ideas, and I've just not done them. Because they're frustrating. I feel like getting the loot from that is just not really worth it now. I feel like it's just not worth it for me now. I wonder why some crops were facing weird directions. I mean, people are having problems with the beans, I think. They're putting them down, one in like a bean garden, and some of them are facing this way and some of them are facing that way. So they're not cohesive and it looks awful. Like, I don't want to do that. What are we on for medals now? Okay, I actually have a hell of a lot of medals. I didn't realize we had that many for each skill. Lines are facing the wrong way. No, like, I've seen them do it no matter what they do. It doesn't change it. Gonna go family friend. Have a nice day. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't realize we had this many medals. I didn't realize. The other one we don't have much of is this because I keep buying the I just keep buying arrows. I keep buying them instead of making them. But we could probably make them soon. And we need to do fishing, but I don't really want to do it. I don't really want to do it. Have we done the furniture? Oh, we did. Okay. Well, I don't really want to do fishing. I'm kind of avoiding it, I'm not gonna lie. So I think we should go and get silver, I think. Use my compass because why not? Where is silver? Silver in... Still in Kilima, right? Let's double check. Let's double check because I don't want to be wrong. Don't want to be wrong. Obtained in Kilima. So it should hopefully show me where it is. Let's hope it works. Yeah, I did buy, what did I buy? Oh, the Zeki coins. That's what we're trying to do now. I'm trying to like get to max gold and then just buy Zeki coins to try and get plushies, because so far it's going really well. But I don't know what else we can get for the from the prize wheel and stuff. Like, I have no idea. Oh wow, it definitely worked. But let's see if it's just show me stone. It's showing me this. Oh well, we'll farm it all. It's fine. But yeah, I don't actually know what... Oh, I got a quartz from that. I don't actually know about every plushie in the game. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really have a clue. I feel like I wasn't paying attention to every single one. So I've definitely just kind of been like wishing for one, no matter what it is. We had 3. I just realized we got the ancient fish. I forgot about that. So we had 3. Wait, we got 2 quartz. Yeah, they're not worth much. They're not worth much, but I'll keep them. I'll be happy about it. But yeah, I feel like... Oh, should we go up here? I feel like I'm just honestly going to be happy now if I get a plush at all, right? I'm just going to be happy no matter what. We're just going to be grateful. There was a time where I had none. So we'll keep buying them. Because I feel like before I was buying the Zeki coins and I was just getting my, like, through earning them from buying stuff, I'd never, ever got plushie from them. All I would get was ingredients. Like, and don't get me wrong, everything else I get, it's ingredients. Yes. It is. It's fine. It's fine. If I get 20 ingredients and 1 plushie from, like, 21 coins, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I just want 1. If we can get 1 per stream, that's 3 plushies a week, at least, if not 4. So, I'll take it. Give me whatever you want. I don't care anymore. Oh, is this silver? Oh, it is. 8? Okay. Okay. 8. Didn't expect 8. I know that they increased it and stuff, but 8 is kind of crazy. Wait, it says 181 meters below. Where is that? Where is that? That's lying to me, right? I think I'm being lied to. Honestly, with this, okay, these quartz are very popular right now. With the, jaw pain, like, I could, if I wanted to, just do, like, a silent stream, and I know people do that. But I think that only works with, drops, and I'm just not a fan of it. It's nice to watch from the viewer perspective, just, like, atmospheric and stuff, but from the streamer perspective, it just doesn't feel right. I can't stream and not talk. I feel like I would just end up talking anyway. So, I don't think I could do that. It's a choice. I could do it, but I don't think I would want to. I feel like as much as it would be better to stream than not stream, I'd rather not stream if it meant... Emerald! If it meant I wasn't going to be able to talk. Right? I don't know if that's just me, but... I like to... The reason why I like streaming is because I get to talk. I get to talk to people. I like it. But we've done good so far. We've been live like 40 minutes. We'll see how far I can push it. I don't want to push myself too far though. If it progresses, I'll end. But I already know that like if I end and they're still live, I think it's Oakling's birthday today. I think. So, either way, if she's still alive, I'll send you guys in there after. I feel like the whole house just vibrated and I have no idea why. Unless someone just came home. Yeah, that was weird. Felt like the whole house vibrated. If that was caused by a door being shut, I'm a little bit concerned. How hard do you slam a door for it to vibrate at my desk? Odd. Unless it was actually someone kicking a ball at the house. That has vibrated my room before. Try not to be that kind of person, but like... when a football hits your house and it shakes your room, it's a little bit annoying. Could have been that. Could have been. There's like no Shernock around. Usually when I do this, there's like Shernock everywhere, and right now I don't see any of them. Someone must be hunting right now. We're getting a lot of copper. And I don't remember if I needed copper. Oh, here they are. I don't know if I needed copper or not. Like, I actually can't remember if, like, when I looked what we needed, I didn't check if I had any copper or not. We'll sell it. If not, it's fine. I don't know if it's worth me making them into bars before selling them. But we'll see. Oh my god, I just heard the frog hat do like the frog sound, and I thought there was a frog near me, and I was like, hang on. When on Eldwood? Oh my god. Keep thinking there's actually frogs. It's just the hat. Just the hat. Try not to clench. But... it's almost impossible. Almost impossible. Just like it, like when I smile, when I'm talking, like I'm doing it right now. It's ridiculous. Okay, we've only found one silver, which is honestly quite annoying. Like, I don't feel like we need all of this to show up on the compass. I feel like it's kind of useless, right? Like, I know just how much copper there is now. Like, I've got 90. We've only been doing this for like, what, 30 minutes or something? Less? Why do I need to know where all the copper is? I feel like it's pretty obvious. It's just everywhere. And yet, they're just like, showing me where it is. Like, I don't need to know where it is. I can see it everywhere. And yet... there's no silver for some reason, and they're like, oh, we made silver easy to find. You made it more obvious where it is, but it's not easier, right? Like, it has its own node now, which is nice, but it's not easy to find by like a long shot. It's definitely not easy to find. So I don't know why. Also, I'm very tired today again. I had a double coffee earlier. Didn't do anything. I feel like I only get energy from, like, sweets, right? Like, I don't get energy unless it's, like, E-numbers. And I feel like I don't want to eat sweets. So, like, how do I get energy then? If I drink water, it doesn't do anything. If I drink coffee, it doesn't do anything. Like, I had a double coffee, like, instead of just like a single one like I would normally do. How does that not wake you up? Like, why do I want to yawn? Like, I'm not actually tired. I just feel tired. It's hard to explain. It makes no sense. Silver. How much? 2? 2? That took so long to find. That took so long to find, and it didn't even, like, give me anything. Don't we need, like, 5 for one... we need, like, 5 for one bar. Like, what? 2? 2.8. We'll see. See how much we can get. Is that one by the farm? These ones are more likely, I'm going to assume, to be silver than anything else because they're just like so sparsely like done, maybe? Is it silver? Or is it just a stone? It's a stone. It's a stone. I don't actually know if we farm like all the big stones, no matter what they are, like, is there a higher chance of the stones spawning big again? You know? Like all the nodes whoa, that is a big tree. I'm just gonna walk away from it though. That's where I'll stop it. But yeah, I don't know if like what we destroy, is that the thing that then comes back? Is it like replicating? Or is it just random? Wonder. I don't know which one. Like if I destroy this, does it then spawn another big copper node somewhere else? Okay, we're not doing too bad today. I didn't even mean to try and make money or anything. And so far it's like actually doing me good. I don't know if any of them spawn around here. No, they do not. They do not. Okay. I'm not going back up there. I'm not going back up there. Okay, maybe we will. I just realized there's loads of like nodes on there too. And it doesn't seem to be any down here right now, so maybe we will. I need a stone. Just start doing predictions on like if it's gonna be a stone or something useful. Like, I don't need all this copper. So much copper. Like, more? I'm only hitting it so that silver spawns. That's insane. Like, okay, I'm getting star stones. I can't really complain. Look at all these. Like, I complain too much. I don't know if there's like a place that spawns the silver more. I noticed in Bahari the gold was spawning more central. I don't think we found it in the outskirts. But I definitely found more gold than I have done silver so far. So I almost feel like gold is easier than silver to find. Which just doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. Surely, like, the gold should be harder to find. Because it's like a more precious metal. That's what I would have assumed, but according to PALIA, it's like, oh. You want gold? Here, have all of it. You want silver? No. We might have to just buy it. I don't need it right now, but if I need it, I might have to just buy it, because this is insane. There's just none. Like, my compass is about to run out, and we've only found 2. 2 silver nodes. Doesn't really make much sense. I feel like the last update really confused me with things like this. Because the next update, I don't know, like, what's really involved in it, except for the animal stuff. So I'm curious to see if they'll, like, revert stuff or, like, change it again. Because this is just weird. This is just really weird. I don't know how to feel about it. I kind of, like, wasn't against the old, like, way of silver and gold. I wasn't a fan of it, but I wasn't against it. Right? Silver. It wasn't, like, terrible. It just wasn't good either. This is, like, 4. Like, this should be good. This should be so much better. But it's just not. It's just not. Like, why have I got 14? I've just practically cleared. Not, obviously not fully cleared, but practically cleared out the entirety of Kilima once over. I barely have enough ore to actually make 3 bars. That's not good. Hot pot! I forgot about hot pot. No! I need to set a timer on my phone. When does Hop Hop begin? At quarter to... Quarter to? Maybe I need to be putting a timer on my phone. Or I get like Wikipedia, the Paleo wiki up. So I can see the time. Because for some reason in game, the time isn't obvious enough to me. I need it to be big. Right? Like I typically, if I'm not wearing my headset, because for some reason my headset and my Defoom speaker, like they both interact with each other because they're both Bluetooth. So like if I'm listening to music, it's more of a problem. I can't have the headset on and the speaker on, but the speaker has the time on it. So when I'm like looking at it, I'm like, fine, I know the time. Otherwise, I have no clue what time it is. I have no idea what time it is. For some reason, if it isn't extremely big and in my face, I've got no idea. I just keep forgetting what time it is. We're just gonna sell these. I'm actually just gonna sell them all, except the silver. We keep the silver. Oh, and then we need to buy... We'll go down to 6,000. And then we'll leave that. And we'll join this one. Is this one actually a good one, though, or is it a bad one? I feel like it's... Feels like it might be a bad one. I'll do this one instead. I don't want to go to a table where I can't see anything. That will bug me like crazy. I don't like that. And yesterday I learned that there is a problem where if you actually go to a table and there are other people on it and you leave, it gives you a penalty. You get a penalty for like leaving a table before the game even begins. I think it should be once the game's begun, like if you leave then you get a penalty, but like that took like a whole 2 or 3 minutes for it to disappear. I was like, I'm trying to join the table. Very annoying. Yeah, we'll do this, and then... I don't know, maybe I give up hope on the silver. I don't feel like we're gonna find much. We could be doing this, like, forever, and it would still not happen. So I have no idea, like, if it's worth doing it or not. I do hope that they'll change some things that they've done. Like, the stuff they already changed, I hope they can, like, either change it back, or they're gonna, like... at least make it a little bit better than they have, right? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be getting an update this month, but I know that they said it was like a detailed blog post or something. I don't know if we're gonna get an update. Kind of a little bit worried there's no actual update and it's just gonna be like, oh yeah, this is what's happening, like the roadmap. I'm kind of hoping that the update is this month, because I've been thinking it has been. So far, we don't know anything. And I don't know what they said about how long it was going to be until it was out. I could have sworn that they said that the blog post for the roadmap would at least be out this month. Maybe I read it wrong. Maybe I read it wrong. Okay, I have to win this, right? I have to win this. I've almost won anyway. All I need is 2. I don't know. Can I win it? What's the next one gonna give me? Okay. No. No, there's no point. There is no point. I don't feel like... Oh. I don't feel like keeping that was the move. Oh, it keeps giving it to me though. Like, look at these. I don't need these. Someone else is gonna win this and I'm gonna be like really annoyed. We need that. Don't take it. Which one? That one. Okay. Now if someone else wins, at least I get like, you know, something. And now we need a dumpling. This is like teasing me as well. After yesterday, like Sainsbury's for some reason just do not have my dumplings. And it's driving me insane. Kind of hope we can get some this week. You know, since I haven't had those dumplings, like my body's not been feeling great. Maybe my body actually likes cabbage. that's like the only thing I can think of that's in the dumplings that is like, you know, I haven't had. Oh my god. We win. We win. Yeah. Okay. Next. I'm kind of excited to open these, to use these coins. I wasn't even, like, planning on doing it because we don't have too much money, but I have a load of stuff I can sell. I could probably make, like, a good 200k with what I have at home right now. I have, like, 25 apple jams in each thing, plus more that we put in there yesterday. So I'm kind of curious to see how much I can make from that, and I have that times 5. So that's a lot. I have glowworms, I have fertilizer, I have seeds that I could sell. I have everything right now. So we can get my money back. Plus, it's worth it if I can just get a plushie out of it. Because if I get one now, I don't have to do it again. Like, it's fine. At least we get one. That's what matters. Okay. This one might be a little bit better than the last one, actually, because I hate when you start the game and you have, like, almost all of them, but then for the whole game you can't find anything you need. That's the most frustrating part. Okay, no one? Oh, that's very annoying. Never mind. I don't need it. I don't need it. Wait, who's rude? Wait, what? This person? Oh no, there's beef again. Every server I'm in, there's beef. There's always 2 people arguing over something. I don't know what's going on. Why are they rude? What did they do? He didn't say anything. I didn't see anything. Remember, like, it was a couple of streams ago, we were in the Elderwood and there was someone just, like, absolutely, like, screaming at someone. I had no idea what was going on. The chat was just going crazy. I'd break. Wait. Didn't I literally just ban that bot and it's still showing for me? That's really weird. Yeah, ads begin in 3 minutes. My apologies. Oh, I thought it was a carrot. I looked at that and thought it was a carrot. I don't know what made me think this was a carrot. I don't know what's going on. This is what happens when you have a tension headache. Your eyes just drift off into different places and see things that aren't even there. I think this is what was happening yesterday, though, now I think about it. Because in yesterday's stream, I did say near to the end, which is why I think I stopped the stream a little bit early. My eyes were drifting. We were, like, playing this, and my eyes were drifting from my cards over to, like, this side of the table. So, hopefully that isn't happening again, because that would be very annoying. Yeah, I don't know why that's still showing like that for me. Yeah, why is it still showing me the message if I ban them? Surely it should, like, get rid of it. Or is it because it's a message that's been held? I don't understand Twitch these days. I don't know how I've been streaming on Twitch for, like, oh, how long has it been? 2025. I started streaming properly in, like, COVID. I still don't know how to do things. Still don't understand it. I think it's because they change stuff so often. Like, oh, something happened yesterday. I don't remember what it was. But something happened and it confused me because I'd never seen it before. So, I don't know. Like we said yesterday, Twitch be twitching. It actually kind of bugs me as well. When I'm trying to do, like, the raid command on my stream deck, that bugs me like nothing else. It won't go off. And, like, I've updated it and everything. I actually, had a problem with it the other day. What was it for, though? I think it was Spotify. There was a problem with Spotify, the Spotify plugin thing that I have. And it just wouldn't pause my music. I use it all the time for Spotify. Like, I know it sounds a bit lazy. I could just like go into the app and pause it. But sometimes I'm playing a game and I need to focus. Like, not a game like PALIA, but like Fortnite or something. I have my music on and I'm in like an intense situation. I need to pause the music really quick. So like, doing it on the other monitor is not, it's not happening. And I tried to pause it and it just didn't pause. And then of course I couldn't hear what I was doing, so didn't win the game. And it was every night, so I tried to fix it. And now I have a problem with Stream Deck. Not Stream Deck. Streamlabs. I have a problem with Streamlabs now. Where it's taking like 5 minutes for the command to show up. Either that or it's OBS. OBS could be the problem too. I am just throwing all the blame at Stream Deck. It could be OBS that's the problem. Could be. I mean, it was... Apparently it was there for everyone else in chat, but for me it didn't show up. But... time is it? 1 more game? 2 more games? If we're looking. Then we have... What? Do we have like 3 coins? Can I not check what's in my bag actually? Can I not? I can't. That's a little bit annoying. I wish I could do that while I was playing. If I knew what I had. Also, my character literally always looks half asleep. They keep like... I feel like this guy's doing it too. Yesterday, her eyes were closed. Now, I don't know if it takes like a screenshot in-game at that particular moment, and that's why. I don't know how it works. But if they are doing that, they're taking the pictures at the wrong time. The screenshot's being taken at the wrong time, because she always looks half asleep, or she's got her eyes closed. Which, every time I try to take a screenshot, for like a thumbnail, she's always doing that too, so I mean, I wouldn't be very surprised. Honestly, a good match of a character for me, though. Because I'm like that now. I'm like that right now. I actually don't even think turning my light off would help either. I feel like that would just make camera look terrible. Like, look at that. That is terrible. I can't believe I used to stream without that. I used to stream with no light. But to be honest, when I stream with no light, it's at night when we have the red light on. Maybe it helps even out the room. I don't know. But like, I have a window here and that's the other window in the room. So the light, without that light on, it's not good. It looks awful. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about the light. But it's fine. Because I didn't even realize in my OBS settings, I didn't realize I had to untick something to be able to use something else for my camera and make the lighting actually look somewhat okay. Like, I know people... I've tried to do it. I know people have used, like... I think it only works, like, box lights. And I have, like, a really, like, small ring light. And they face it towards the wall and it bounces off and the light sort of bounces off into the face. So you're not having to look at the light. But it still gives you, like, a good amount of light. Mine doesn't do that. It's not stark enough. So whenever I try and do something like that, it just doesn't work. So I have to have the light face of you instead. Which is annoying because you can see it in my glasses as well. Okay, we're not doing very good. Can we play one more? Is everyone else playing one more? Oh, I'll join this one. Yeah? Yeah. I'll join this one so that we can get in and get another game. Rather than try and miss one. Oh, this might be a quick one. If I can get a bright shroom and some more noodles, it might be a quick game. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. A bit too wishful. bit too-ish though. Nope. Nope. You're not bright shroom. Bright shroom. Bright shroom. No! None of them. Oh no, I spoke too soon. It's not gonna be a good game. I feel like it's gonna be one of those that goes for like 15-20 rounds. Oh, it's the wrong mushroom. No. Oh my god. Okay. I think everyone's trying to get those same things right now. I don't see a single one of them being popped up. The game is definitely trolling me right now. Man, I just want plushies. No, I just want a plushie, please. Just give me the coins so I can go get the plushies. It's the wrong one again. I'm not doing too well today with this. Is this the first one? This is the first one. I almost feel like I should actually start the stream with this. Now that I think about it. Because then we could probably play it as soon as I go live. I could probably be playing it while I'm actually waiting to go live as well. I didn't think of that. I always sit here and like wonder what I should do while I'm waiting. I never have a clue. Oh, can't watch this because I gotta start stream at this time. And it runs over every time. I was watching someone play something earlier and I was like, it ran over. I was like, no, I want to finish watching it. So I only watched half of it. Gold? What color is the plushie one? Is it the, like, the yellow one, the gold one? This is the last one, I think, or one more? No. Damn it! It's okay. We'll open them all with the coins. Let's... Okay. So we know what this is. Okay. And that is basically useless. So... I could leave these till the end of stream, but I feel like I just don't have the control. I don't have the control to do that. We did that yesterday. We bought them before we did Hot Pot, and did that again today, so I'm feeling good. We did get this guy. This little Kitsu guy. I literally was saying just before stream, not just before stream, just before we played yesterday, before we opened them, that I really would like him. And we got him. I think I have the mushroom guy, and I have the bird too. So I don't know what else there is. About to find out. Nope. Nope. Do we think we're gonna get one? I don't need fireworks. Stop giving me fireworks. Oh my god, he gave me more fireworks. Okay, I'm being trolled. I'm fully being trolled now. The amount of fireworks it's giving me now, it's like, oh, you don't like ingredients? Let me give you fireworks instead. I don't use them. They're honestly kind of useless. Kind of useless. I mean, you can use them kind of like a flare, but it's just not the same thing. And I don't even use flares. I don't even use flares, to be honest. So these are so useless. Look at them all. I got one of every color. Oh my. Oh my. And I don't need those. These are useless to me. I don't need them. We're back at 600 though. Maybe I can go back home and put these away. Like, I don't... Honestly, at this point now, I don't even need to do foraging to actually get like the cooking stuff, because the amount of like Zeki coins and like prize wheel coins I'm getting ingredients from is just ridiculous. Like, how much do I have now? At one point I had none, so... I had like nothing. Oh, it's doing nothing again. Okay, we have sugar. We have vinegar. Soy sauce. Salt. We have like everything. I have milk. I don't need to buy anything anymore. I could probably make a decent amount of food. But I still don't even need the food. Look at all this food. I made some of these on my own, but then I made some of them on, I think it was Mimi's stream. And like, I haven't used it. I barely used it. I used some of them during the frog stuff because I was kind of like, you know, I wanted to level up a little bit. But then I realized I didn't even need to. Because we were leveling up so much anyway. Oh my god, should I sell this now? I think I should. Now that we're back down to like 600k, I think I should sell these. I don't know how much this is going to be, but I feel like it's going to be a lot. Let's see. We get to like 800k with what we have. Because we have some other stuff. Let's go grab those two. If we can do it quick. We do it quick. Before it sells. Got these. I don't really need them. We can keep like 100. Oh wait. The mush skin too. Could sell a stack of that too. I don't need that. Okay. How much is this? And we also have the tomato seeds as well. Oh. Okay. Like 40k. What about the mushroom? The mushroom? The tomato seeds. Let's see. Tomato seeds. We don't need to like sell them all. Because I think I should plant some. But how many do we have? Are they even worth selling? I could sell a stack. We could sell a stack. Just to get rid of them. Because I've had them hoarded there since just before the Eldwood update. Sell that. And then that one. Okay, we got 41k out of that. So we need to start doing that again. Okay. So we're at a situation now where we actually kind of need to start selling things and making money again. I didn't think this day would come. I've bought some Exeki coins now out of the pure hope that I'm gonna get plushies from them. That I just like I've run out of money again. Okay. Let's see. Let's put these in here and see how many I have. Because I don't want to keep them in here. I'd rather keep them in. I'd rather keep them in the crafter. To be honest. And if I could sell some, I'll sell them because it's worth it. Okay, these go in here. So can these. Anything like worth using or planning for me is like it's like worth it being in the of things so I don't accidentally sell it. Been there. Done that. We can do with that too. That. Okay, we have a little bit more room. Is there anything else? Potato and rice. Can I do both? Almost. Okay. So now we can put all of this back in the crafter. I don't know if there's anything I can actually turn into seeds. Like, how much do these make? How many of them do I need? Because if I only have 10... Does it take 10? Something tells me it takes 10. 4? Okay. 4's not terrible. Okay. I don't mind 4. Let's do that. Let's do that. And then we can put these... In fact, I'm going to plant those right now. Oh, I have to put them back in here, duh. Oh, that's really annoying. That's really annoying. I kind of forgot I have to do that. Okay. Let's just put the carrots in that one. And then put the onions in this one. Why do I have so many though? Like I have 96 red onion and I have so many like... Oh wait, we need them. Can I dedicate one to everything? Nearly. Okay. And then we'll put them in here. Okay. Let's go and plant these tomatoes. Wait, I got rid of the tomatoes again. I got rid of them again. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's just plant these because then I can turn them into seeds. And then we can use them for money. Now that I actually need money again, it feels weird. Actually needing money. Like last week, I couldn't have related to that. I had max gold. Now we have none. No, I'm kidding. We have quite a lot. It's not terrible. I've just gotten so used to having like no need for money anymore that now when I don't have it, I'm kind of sad. I was gonna say, why did that look like it was ready to harvest when it wasn't? I missed one. Oh, I almost forgot that too. I keep doing that. They don't look like they need harvesting. You know, they look too small. Like, that's not a pumpkin. It's tiny. Like, the one thing in the UK that we just have not got is, honestly, it would be like melon. Melon is so tiny. It's even smaller than that pumpkin. I don't know if that's just like my my supermarkets, but they are terrible. And like I see these I see the what is it? I see the melons in the supermarket. And I'm just like, that's supposed to be a baby one. It is tiny. Hello, Jack. Are you on your way there, or like, did I forget again when you're leaving? you gotta forgive me. I'm not having a good day. We gotta do everything to make money now. Oh. Also, every time you come into the stream, I feel like I'm being told off for something. I feel like I did something wrong. If it was going to Wednesday, you have that bad of a memory. I do have that bad of a memory. It's called brain fog. Look it up. Wednesday. So you're going tomorrow. Okay, but you've got the day off today, right? I remember that bit. You said that yesterday was your last day. Until you come back. It's Tuesday today. I streamed yesterday, you donk. You already know that I can't fall for that now. I'm too used to... Oh, did we water that? Oh, we did. Wait. Guys. I thought I planted an apple tree. I planted a singular... I planted a singular tomato just on its own. I was like, why does it look so empty around there for? Like, what? You saying my donk first? I've been saying that since you started saying it. I literally call my mum a donkey all the time. And I'm like, she hates it. I don't even need to do it. Oh no. What do we do? Can I get rid of... Wait. I can. Blame me, why don't you? You're the one who started it. You started it. Oh, we don't have any apple trees. We don't have any apple seeds. That's not good. Oh well, we'll use the next lot of harvest to make seeds. If I remember. Okay, we'll plan... if I put 4, I need 5. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Let's put... What is going on? Let's put... Wait. I'm eating them. I am so lost. What am I doing? I don't... What am I doing? I'm picking up the things instead of this. This is what I needed, but I can't even put them down. Oh, no. How many do these use? They use 4 as well? I hate that. I hate that. Why is this a thing? It's like cursed. Okay. We're not doing anything with it then. We're leaving it open for now. I don't like it. That's frustrating. I don't like it. Oh. Okay. Do I have... Okay, I think we go mushroom picking. I realized a lot of the Elderwood furniture uses mushrooms. So I think we go mushroom picking. Which obviously I'm not going to be mad about. I don't even know if we can buy these. Can we even buy these from like the skill stores or things? Is that like a thing we can do yet with the Elderwood stuff? I haven't even checked. We need to do the piles while we're here as well. I keep forgetting. Because right now we need like 3 or 4 of them of the artifacts. And I haven't found them. In like 3 days of checking, I haven't found one. So we kind of need to start looking for them. Also, I think I can just pick up any of the forageables now. I don't think it matters what I... Is this one? No, it isn't, is it? This is like the quest. I can pick up all the forageables now. So I don't even need to worry about if it's infected or not. Which is nice. Oh, maybe we do pallium too. Maybe I should do pallium too while we're at it, because I'm kind of low with it. Kind of low. Realized we only have a couple of pallium bars. And only a couple of ores too. I think we use them in the Elderwood furniture maybe? We need to get up. Yeah? Not me thinking that was a pot link. No, I have them set up to do certain stuff. Trust me, I'm on it with bot links. I don't even need a mod. I'm on it. I just like instantly ban them. No, we don't need that. Oh my. I hear you. What? Is that supposed to be a joke? That was too loud. So I know you can hear me because I can quite literally see the mic moving right next to my face. Right there. I'm looking right at it. It's in the red. I'm talking so loud. It is in the red. I don't trust that. I don't trust you. I don't want to fall for that. There is... I have the stream up on my phone. You better not be lying to me right now. Oh, you were lying to me. Okay. Okay. I should know not to trust you with that. This is why I couldn't have you be a mod. I swear. Like, I trust you in terms of a mod, but I wouldn't trust you to tell me something was wrong with stream or not. I've just had the stream up on my phone. I know I'm fine. I can hear myself on the stream. One last troll before you go away. You can't lip read a Yorkshire woman. It's not a thing you can do. It's impossible. You cannot lip read anyone from Yorkshire. It, like, genuinely, like, the lips don't move to the sound. I know that because I wouldn't even be able to lip read my own voice. I can hear you now. My Twitch is booked. Twitch was bugged. Okay. Okay. I can't believe you. You're like the like cry wolf thing every time. I don't trust it. It's terrible. Hello. Got the sound back, but now you're upside down. I would say I hope you're having a good day, but no, I'm kidding. I hope you're having a good day, Raz. You guys trolling me. Yesterday it was the chappers and the Shernugs, so now it's my sound. Say bye to your duo then for now on. My duo? You don't play enough to be classed as my duo. We don't even get online between us enough to be classed as like having a legitimate duo at this point. Like I played more this week than I played last week. And like I genuinely didn't play once last week. I keep getting on in the mornings to play before stream. I'm not sure if it's a good idea. But is that how I'm moving now? You said it, not me. Like, if you troll this much, though, like, I'm not gonna trust you, am I? I find it very difficult to trust people when they troll so much. Like I say, I just do my life, but I don't trust you to tell me that something isn't behind me right now. I'll be having words with Jill. Oh my god. My god. She was watching Love Island last night. The minute I went into her room to talk to her for 2 seconds, she was like, oh, I can't pause it. I can't pause it. And I had to like run to go brush her teeth so she could get in bed and watch it. Oh, I was so confused for a second then. I thought that was just leaves. It looked like leaves and there was nothing else. I couldn't even see the flower. There's a lot of infected forage right now. I think we need to go up into the trees because I'm not finding any of the mushrooms. Where are they all? Are they even up the trees? Or someone else taking them? Is someone taking all the mushrooms right now? In Elderwood? I don't see one. I know it to be seen. Here we go. There's one. That's one. Let's check this one. That is not a mushroom, but it is a very important thing. Starbucks lovers, I'll tell you what I'm saying. Oh no. No, don't start doing that now. Now that you've like... That wasn't even the one that you heard. You heard the... like a completely different one. I've never heard anyone say that they heard that before when listening to it. That was so funny. Although I was listening to one of the songs the other day and I actually found like a lyric that I got wrong all these years. It was only slight. It was only slightly wrong, but... It's kind of funny. Even after like, what? 20 years of listening to her music? Oh my god. I am old. Ew. 20 years of being a Swiftie. That sounds crazy. That makes me feel very old. It was since I've heard of you. Oh my god, you're not. Big interview? Are you Googling these? Because I've never heard anyone say that. What about the your neck is hanging from my neck one? And it's just necklace. Not as old as me. Honestly, like, I think... Oh. Okay, we're not getting that one, apparently. I just feel like when I say things like that, like, oh, I've been a Swiftie for, like, 20 years. I have been listening to Taylor Swift music since about 2006. That is gross. I don't like that. That just sounds awful. I don't like it. What do you mean I was 6 years old? That is atrocious. It just makes me feel sick. I was okay with being in my 20s. Now it's got me feeling kind of sick. I like it. But hey, it's okay, because we're all kids at heart, right? When you're a gamer, I feel like you never truly grow up. Feel like we're just stuck forever. Okay, we've got 7 of them. It's still not a lot though. That is still not a lot. Yeah, we haven't got a lot of these. For some reason, they're like really difficult to find. I don't know why. Hello. I honestly thought you came in my room then. Maybe you did. Maybe I just didn't hear it. I like saw something in the corner of my eye. Every time I'm live, I get like a tweet that I want to look at and I can't. And I'm just like, it's so tempting. And then I end up clearing out the my notifications for the end of stream, and I always forget to look at them. There you go. I have three ages: mental age, physical age, and chronological age. The only one is accurate to my I like that. I like that. Like, mentally, to me, I'm still 18. And I think I will be. I'm gonna be 8 years old and still, like, mentally be like an 18-year-old. Physically, I'm like 80 years old. Mentally, I'm 18. Honestly, though, like, I think one of the things that really gives your age away is if you play Fortnite. And the kids are definitely the ones that I'm dying to. That is very obvious. I think, is it still school holidays right now? Was Jack talking about my attitude? My attitude. My attitude. Not yours. He was gonna talk to you about my attitude. I swear you guys would team up on me if we like, if you like met. Yeah, how many more can we get? There's one there. There's none there. I wouldn't dare say a bad thing about you, Joe. Don't worry. I'm gonna start, like, timing you guys out. I just, like, time you guys out. Like, hello? I'm the streamer. You're supposed to be nice to me. I can do anything I want. I could time you out. I can ban you right now. The next time Nightbot bans you from saying something, I'll let it. Wait, it's not even Nightbot. I don't know what it's called. Yeah. I could keep you in the shadows. You can watch. But can't talk. Can't say anything bad about me if you can't talk. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't dare do that. But I don't know if my jaw's getting worse right now. I don't want to end stream yet, though. I don't want to end stream. I hate having this. I just feel like I'm biting the inside of my mouth now. You know? How can you call me that, though? And you didn't even spell it right, so it doesn't count. Nope, doesn't count. If you're not even gonna say it right, it doesn't count. You spelled it wrong. Nope. You don't even need to take it back because, you know. Yeah, but you didn't even say it in a sentence, so it doesn't even count. You want to be annoying, I can be annoying too. Plus, it doesn't even hurt. That doesn't even hurt. Because, you know, we were just saying, it's been like 20 years. How can I be fake after 20 years? Right? Wait, we still need to find the other pile. It's probably up this way, right? Because I haven't seen it over this way. I'm gonna assume it's probably over the other side. I just want to see if, In the other pile, can you imagine if that was a thing? Oh no. Okay, I was just double checking that Oakland was still alive because we're gonna raid into there when I'm done. It's their birthday. We'll find the other pile. I don't know if I don't know like why I don't need to go over that side though. That's the only thing. If I don't need to go over that side, I don't want to go over that side, but I need the pile. So I almost like have to go over that side, even though I don't want to. I hear that. Which one was it that you found? I wish I could tell you that. It was in the deep woods, that's all I know. That's the only thing I know. I don't know whereabouts it was though. I feel like it takes a long time to find these mushrooms. But the one isn't over the other side. Is it over this side then? I feel like I want to stay in the deep woods to try and get these mushrooms. So it's kind of useless me going to the other side unless I really need to. I could just search it. But I have the thing in game now where it like gives me the ability to just like see it. But I haven't seen it yet. So it's definitely not in the deep wood. I feel like I'm finding a lot of these and then nothing at all. You did it! She did the mushroom thing on her own. Yes! Let's go! My mom's finally figured out how to use Twitch. Excuse me, I redeemed hydration. Did you? Wait. Oh, you did? Fine. Not like I need it. I definitely do need it. I definitely need it. I drank like a litre before stream, but... it's a bit further north. Okay, hang on. I'm trying to save your life. No, you actually are though. Because I mean, I drank enough yesterday, but I feel like I should be drinking a little bit more than I have been. Definitely feel like I could do with a little bit more. Like, I've been drinking like 2.5, 3 liters. I feel like I could do with drinking 4 liters again. Are you an office drinks person? I have to drink water to survive, Jack. Not like an average person, but like literally I have to drink water to survive. Otherwise, I will quite literally collapse. So I drink fizzy drinks, but like 1 a day, and that's like it. If that. Sometimes I don't even have one. Like if I don't drink water or eat salt, yeah. Bamboo from Rich Pals, neither of them were in the deep... Neither of them were in the deep wood? I've only been to the deep woods. How did I find the other one? I must have found a secret one. I must have found a secret one, right? Where is it? I can't find the other one. G6. Okay, but that's like probably the one I did find. Because it's practically in the deep woods. It's not inside the cave. Technically. Sort of. Right? And G3... Really? Wait, where am I? Where am I? Oh. Let's go back then. Oh my god. Oh my god, my mum's coming in to say hi. Jack. She's coming in to say hi just to you. I don't know where she is though. I'm waiting for her head to pop in. G6, wait, cave. G6 and G3. Oh wait, maybe we should go to G3 then. she like downstairs or something? This way? Maybe I got this one. I feel like... Maybe I got this one. You see, when I think you're gonna come in, I always think you're there, but you're not there. And then when you actually come in, I don't see you. Oh, it's in the lilac. Oh.
Hiya, Jack. Did you watch Love Island last night?
I already told him what you did. Rushing to the toilet to brush your teeth so that you can go get in bed and watch it. G6 is in here. G3. There. Saving Love Island for the plane tomorrow? How do you have self-control for stuff like that? I feel like I'd be like you. I'd be like having to watch it the minute it came out. So he hasn't watched it yet. You don't want to say something. I found it, Raz! Found it! I thought that the other one was in the deep wood. Technically it's classed as a deep wood if you want to call it in the cabin, but... I'm gonna class it as a deep wood.
Live in Love Island tomorrow anyway, won't you?
Wait! Oh, I don't need either of these. We didn't get either of them. I don't know, I don't watch it.
Is that the blonde one?
No, you guys having a conversation just between yourselves on my stream. Wait, I'm gonna go back home and see how many mushrooms we have now. Oh my god. You can't do that on stream.
Oh,
Pulling faces!
the best one on there, but huh? Am I allowed?
Oh no. Plus all I facts. I'm hearing. Well, that's me. My stream. Talking to me. Oh my god. Yeah, we don't need any of these. Look at all these I have now. I don't know which ones I need though, that's the problem. And we need to open these. I think I need to see if we got a black pearl or not. No, we did not. What? What does it mean? It's the current generation's version of the laughing crying face. It's just the crying one. Oh, the skull emoji also works, I've heard. According to Jack, even though we're supposed to both be the same generation, it's like the skull face is like, I'm dead, I'm laughing that much. I don't know. I just use lol at this point. I feel old to say it, but I've got over it. I just say it now. If I've got any you need, you're welcome to them. Do I have any you need, or have you finished them? These are all repeats now, I think. We can go back and check. I'll take them with me and check. But I don't think I need them. I don't know which ones it is. I need, like, the ones that everyone else needs, I think. You sat there like an NPC that's waiting for a player to come and talk to them. Same generation, excuse me, a closer would be the care home bit. You're so rude lately, I swear. Oh my god. I thought we were friends. Honestly, we are supposed to be Gen Z though, right? Like you're Gen Z. Oh, I thought we had that. Yeah, I'm literally supposed to be a Gen Z, even though I feel more like a millennial. The only thing I missed out on in terms of being a millennial is literally MySpace. Everything else, like, I did. I don't... What are you staring at? You're looking at yourself in my PC. You could do it if you got closer to it. It's so funny. Okay, Ancient statue 1. No. Wait. No. Ancient machine. No. Dress 3. Wait, is that the ones you have? I could do with a dress 3. And then the mermaid. But no one has the mermaid. No one has this. I swear no one has a repeat. But I'll give you like any of them if you need them. For that one thing. Do you want to trade? You can trade. I can give you any of them I have. I have them all in my inventory right now. I'll wait over here. I won't do it. I'll wait for you to come over. Or I do. I think the only one I have double of is this, but I literally don't need any of them. We'll see. If you come over, we'll see. You joined. I know, do. You're done? Oh my god. Oh, the game glitched. I'm nearly done. I'll be like that soon too. I'll give you one of my repeats. And like that, so you can like trade it. Oh no. Thank you though, I appreciate it. Wait, let me, shall I go do it now? I'll get 3 tickets, right? So I think then I might be able to do another... this is something I'm going to teach you though. You know when I teach you how to play, if someone does this, it's kind of like their way of saying like hi, thank you, and everything in between. Even though you can do this. And like this, it's just this. Or like this. I don't know who like came up with that. I don't know when it started because I don't remember it. Where's the party hits? Not in this game. We just did it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who started it. It just like it became a thing out of nowhere. Just one of those things. I completed the whole bundle. Oh, I got 6. Raz, you're so good. Thank you. We can do the whole thing now. Pretty much. Not fully, but we can do 2 of them. And they can buy this. That's so good. We got like 3 of them out of that. Let's go. I think I can do 2 without having to do a quest. It's been around a long time. I think I was going back on. I started playing it. Really? I thought it was just a PALIA thing. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize people did it in other games. We can make it. I could just make that. Okay. So no, that's why you keep the ingredients. 3-starred cave pixie. I can go do that. I can go do that. Because they just spawn in the little caves over here, right? I'll probably leave the lantern one to tomorrow. I think I've just not like played other games as much as I have PALIA that like online, like MMOs, to even notice people doing stuff like that. That's probably why. Mushroom. Oh, I forgot we could do the mushrooms in here. Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, I'm not starred. I think I need starred ones. It said starred, but maybe it was just because that's all I have. Oh. No, it's running away from me. Maybe this one is a starred one. You better be a starred one. Why is it running away from me so much? No, it's not. I used to also do spin around while on my mountain. Oh. Wait. That would have been chaotic though. Like everyone just like imagine like 5 people running into each other and being like, "Oh, friend," and just like 5 people spinning around on like tigers and horses and stuff. That would be funny. If I can get it. I don't know what happened.
Copy that.
Bye. You're getting stuck on stuff. It's the most frustrating thing. If I close defeat 30 people. Oh my god. Yeah, that would probably make the server lag a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, why are none of these starred? None of them. That is extremely annoying. Oh, that's where the other pile is. I honestly thought that it was in the deep wood. Oh, when you're waiting for the world bosses to spawn. Good point. I didn't think of that. I did not think of that. That's a very good point. I just feel like, where did it come from? How did we just like universally decide that it was a thing to just like spin around to say hi? It's not even really saying hi. It's more just like a way of expressing that you're excited for some reason. I just find it really cute. Just like, hi friend. How are you doing? I'm excited right now. Hi. Like the form of saying hi is just making yourself dizzy. It's easier than typing hi or hello. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Oh, we need to go this way. Go to the other cave. See if they have any in there. Whereabouts is... Oh, is this it? I think we got it. Yeah. There we go. Please, can I have one that's starred? Nope. Oh, there was one there and it ran away. It's also a way of saying thank you for someone helping. True. That's why I was like, it's like saying hi and thank you and everything in between. It's not like one thing. It's like when you put XD, I know it kind of means like lol, right? Or like whatever. It's just kind of like a way of showing like you're laughing. But at the same time, I kind of do it when I'm raging too. And like, I don't think there's like one saying for these things. I didn't think of coming down here. Oh my god. No. None of them are stars. None of them. That's crazy. Like, none of them are starred at all. Why is that? Oh, we can get the clam mushrooms around here too. I could have just done the small hunting. And then I might have gotten mushrooms from that. I didn't think of doing that. Although I don't think my head can handle that right now. Try and see if we can just find 3 of these. That's like the little goal right now. Just need 3 of them. We can go back and see if it'll take the other ones. Wait, what? The like normal ones? Because it might. It might have just been that I only had starred ones in my inventory, so... Wait. Wait, I didn't know this little bit was here. Wait. I didn't know this little dip down bit was there. Every time I come down here, I always see something new. I feel like it's those little caves in Bahari that I hadn't seen, and everyone was like, yeah, they've been there forever. And I'm like, are you sure about that? I don't remember them. I'm about to see so much. I've just realized the amount that I'm going to see when I do a new account on PALIA is kind of insane. Like, the amount of stuff I've missed. It's going to be so funny. Getting to see everything, like, all over again. But actually paying attention. Okay, I don't think we're finding these. I think I'm just going to go back to the stables and see if I can use the non-starred ones. I would think for a level 3, it might need to be starred, but I think it might have been level 4 actually. You don't need to have items in your, yeah, I do. It's just that when I went, the only thing I needed was the butterfly or the K-Pix even. And it said starred, but I think I only had starred. Yep, there we go. I only had starred at home. So like what I had on me didn't, like I could only find those ones. I thought that it meant I had to have starred ones, but because the only ones I had like in my bag or like in my chest were starred, I thought I needed starred ones. I only needed them in general. That was it. So now we have these 2 to do and then the lantern one. And we're done with them. Okay, that's like not nostalgic, but like the opposite. What's like not nostalgic? It's like, I don't know what the feeling is. It's satisfying essentially, like having it take me like weeks to do. Which is why I find it so insane that people finished the update so quick. That's why I just don't believe it was true. Like, people saying they finished the update within, like, the first day or 2. I'm like, how? Purple Lantern needs a mouse. Oh. Well, we're about to figure that one out, huh? We'll get around to that another day. I'm not doing that right now. We'll do that another day. I'm not doing it today. We'll go through that problem when it occurs. I'll leave them for now. But yeah. We need to... What are these yet? Oh, we didn't go to Zeki's. No! Okay, well, I think I'm going to at least go buy some Zeki balls. At least going to do that. It's the only one I've got left to complete. I don't feel like fishing in Elderwood. I just don't feel like fishing in general. I don't know what it is. I used to stand with Einar all day and fish the lake, and now I'm just like... I'd rather not. I don't know what they did, but it just like... There was a vibe, and now there isn't. I don't know where the vibe went. I don't know what happened, but... Fishing's just not the thing right now. Which is really disappointing, because I used to love it. Sometimes I would just go to the caves in, like, the Pavel mines. And I would just, like, stand there by, like, in that, like, cave area. And just fish with, like, 5 people for, like, 2 hours. I didn't even know these people. We weren't even friends in game or anything. So, I own the Fisher plushies. True. That's probably why I don't have mini plushies. Why does it say I only have one lot of, snoozable ads? That's really odd. I'm gonna do down to, like, 500k. And I don't think... I'm thinking I might end stream after we open these just because my jaw is getting worse and I really don't want to be worse for tomorrow because I don't want to cancel tomorrow's stream. So I think I might open these and see what we get out of them regardless. It's fine. It's fine if I don't get a plushie, but whatever. Open these and then I might have to end stream earlier than I want to, but I really don't want to be worse for tomorrow because even if I stream tomorrow for a couple hours too, that would make me happy. We're not streaming on Friday, so I don't want to cancel another stream this week. So we'll open these, and then I'll probably send you on to Oakland because, like I said, it's her birthday. So I said you guys there. Manifest no plushie or done. Let's see. Can I? Oh, I have to go to the thing door. I was like, why isn't it doing it? Also, let's just check for any rugs while we're here as well because I kinda need to make sure. That's very controversial. I have an app that tells me not to clench my teeth. And it comes up every hour and it's just like the most... That's new. It's like the funniest thing when I actually have the pain. I'm like, oh, I don't clench my teeth. Thanks. Thanks for the advice. Anyway, let's open these. Oh, we got the bookshelf again. I have like 3 of these now and I really like it, so... Oh, we got the bed. Okay, we got 2 furniture so far. I'm not complaining. Another one. Okay, fireworks. We got 3 furniture. I can't complain too much. I could, but I'm gonna... It works! I tell you it works! If you buy 10 Zeki coins or more, one of them, or 15 I think I did, 15 I think is the absolute perfect thing. Buy 15 Zeki coins every single day and you will get one plushie. Because I already have that plushie I think, but I do not care. Oh my god. What in the... And we got the cute little light thing again. Oh my god. Look at that. That's so good.
Let's circle back soon.
What is this? Is it you? Are you giving me like the look or something?
I love our chat.
I feel like I owe it to you. You manifested it. Just, it works. I don't need these. I'm gonna sell them. Oh, we were supposed to sell these earlier too and I didn't. But yeah, every stream that we've done this, I've managed to actually get a plushie every time. So I feel like it works. I think 15. If you buy 15 and you open about 10 of them, it gives you like one. I don't know how. Spread my plushie look around. You must be. Because I never had this before. We got 2 last stream, 1 the stream before, and 1 this stream. And we got 3 furniture. What, 4 furniture? 4 furniture. I'm not mad. We're going to keep making money in PALIA and buying Zeki coins in every single stream. If we can get a plushie every stream, that would be insane. I would have a lot of plushies by the end of the year, right? Especially with the fact that we probably will get new ones in the new update. Not even just the ones from the frogs, but like in general, I think we should be getting them as well. Let me just do this while I'm here. Okay, we're gonna go home and put them away and keep the plushie out. I don't put them away anymore. I keep them out. I did put the big ancient fish by the like pixie thing because I realized it was actually quite cute because it matches the Elderwood theme. So okay, we're gonna put you with your brothers. Got these free, and then the ancient goldfish you can see from over here is over there. Like, how am I doing this? It's such a good thing. I love it. I'm like, okay, somehow we're managing to like, wait, that's super cute. Oh, I can snooze the ads again. Okay. Okay, this is so cute though. Hello? Love it. What was that? Hello? Okay, I'm happy with these. The fact that I got all of these from 15 coins is kind of insane. I don't know how, but it looks like we have some good luck. Oh. Oh my god, I was like, don't tell me that I cannot put that away because I will cry. Okay, let's put these in here. And then how many plushies do I actually have at this point? Like, oh, I have a Mugen plush. I didn't even realize I had a Mugen one. But I have all the Magic Market ones because I got them in like the first market. I really just don't have that many. I have a couple in my house, but like the amount I have in comparison to some people, I don't actually think I had that one. Oh, I did. The Winter Flutterfox? Is that what this one is? Yeah. So I did have you already, but you're still cute. I still like you a lot. Okay. Let me get my camera up. Close the game. And get on Twitch. Let me like mute the tab before we actually get anything up. So we don't have to end up like with my ears being screamed into. Because it always happens. And then I'm just gonna like cold send you into buckling because I need to go. It's like ice or like heat my jaw or something. But oh, we can't read. Why can't we read? Okay. We'll just end the stream then. I was gonna send you guys in there because it's the birthday, but if you want someone to watch, go watch Oakling and say happy birthday. Yeah, I'll end stream because I want to try and stream tomorrow, you know? We'll have to do a dedicated plushie hunt day. Yes. Yes, we will. We did try and do that the other day, but didn't really work. But we'll see. We'll see if we can do it again another day. But yeah, I'll end stream there just because I do want to try and stream tomorrow as well. So I don't want to make myself worse. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.